Hi, I'm Arthur Chadbourne, third generation astrologer. I've been around astrology all my life. Watched it operate with my grandfather and my mother. And I have to say that the most fascinating science that's ever hit the planet has got to be astrology. We actually read the messages the angels put in the heavens through the planets against the star background. Imagine that. We read destiny. That's what we do. Astrology, the very word conjures up mystique and mystery. What's happening? What's going to happen? How can I take advantage of it? How can I cheat my fate? How can I read my destiny? How can I take that destiny and make it fulfilling? This is what astrology does. However, it just doesn't do it by mere sun sign astrology or psychological astrology. These are two different kinds of astrologies that have nothing to do with determining the outcome of a circumstance. That's horary or electional. I'm going to cover that in a second. First, what I want to do is I want to give you an idea how a professional astrologer sees sun sign astrology in the newspaper. First of all, sun sign astrology is like taking the sun and putting it in front of the camera and just leaving it in front of the camera while I talk to you for the rest of this period. This is going to be very boring. It's going to remain boring. Probably get you to turn the camera off real fast and go on to the next guy. I don't want to do that. I want you to understand that there's a lot more to it than this. You see, we have different planets, and those different planets give us indications of different circumstances, and they're going to tell us a lot about you as an individual, and they're also going to tell us about you as a person who is involved in some form of situation. It can reveal a lot of information about you. It's astounding. Matter of fact, I think the most astounding thing about horary astrology is the fact that it literally mirrors what is going on in your life right now. That's an incredible statement, and it's a huge assumption, but it's true. When we look at a chart in a traditional way, we can see the outcome of a circumstance that you are interested in finding out about. Are you looking for a job? Find a new girlfriend, boyfriend? Do you want to know how this is going to work out? These are the things we can talk about. This is what traditional astrology will do. It's not like sun sign astrology where you drive across the country, buy a couple of $1,000s worth of cameras, and just take the picture of the car at each location that you are. You don't see the vista. You don't see the background and the circumstance. You don't see the people. All you see is the car. Well, you're doing car sign travel, and that's not going to do it for you. When you come back and you look at the pictures, oh, look at this. This is the picture of when the car was in front of a tree. Well, what kind of tree was it that made you take the picture? We need to know that, don't we? No, apparently not if you took car sign pictures of the journey. So what we're doing here is trying to explain to you that sun sign astrology is that limit in focus. The other astrology is what we call modern astrology, today's modern astrology. This astrology was developed in the 19th century, and it was developed to be a psychological astrology. This is because Carl Jung and the bunch came out with all these psychological approaches to life, and astrologers wanted to get in on it. So we had people like Alan Leo and Rudyard get involved with the psychological thing and start determining that you should be a psychologist rather than an astrologer, but you should use the signs of the astrology complexity to explain what that's about. Well, why? I mean, it doesn't do anything. It's why explain who you are? You already know. The biggest thrill about sitting in front of a psychological astrologer is that they're going to tell you that you had a hard time with your parents, you didn't get along with your brother or your sister, your marriage sucks because you married the wrong person. Yeah, that's true. Wow. Well, who cares? I mean, if you're looking for a job, what difference does it make if you hate your father or not? You know, it's got nothing to do with anything. So psychological astrology is good, but the problem with psychological astrology is that many astrologers out there that are doing this are studying the art of astrology and the art of psychology at the same time. A lot of them will read 5 to 10 books, go out and get themselves a nicely designed business card, and put themselves in business. And you will go to these people, pay good money to have them screw up your life. And I mean that sincerely, because they don't know what they're doing. They're going to psychoanalyze you after 10 books. Would you ride in an airplane if you ask the pilot, do you actually fly a lot? Well, No, but I've read the books and the manuals, so I know how to operate the plane. Oh, well, what about the experience part, huh? So, you see, you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful of which astrologer you're going to sign yourself with. If you're going to do psychological counseling, well, find an astrologer who has a degree in psychology, psychiatry. These are the people that you want to talk to. After all, they're the people that have done it. So if they have the degree and they have an astrological understanding, you may find this a little bit more helpful than just the average astrologer out there who's read a few books. It's not a good thing. So be careful. You have to be very careful who you put your life, whose hands you put your life in. You want to gossip about yourself, just go in the backyard and talk to your neighbor. They'll do it for free. They'll probably give you better advice because they don't like you. At any rate, you see, now traditional astrology, here's a different form of astrology. We look at traditional astrology as a tropical circumstance. In other words, each planet is seasonal. You see, they're going to have their best and their worst places. And we need to know if the best and worst places is working for you and your destiny. How is it working for you? This is what we're about. Look at a chart, for instance, the sun. The sun in Aries is loaded with energy because it's bringing spring upon itself and it's moving towards the summer months. So we know that Aries to the summer months, the sun is much stronger. It's life-giving. It's life force-giving. It's generating new growth throughout the areas. This is what this whole sun in Aries is about. All into the summer where the sun has maintained its heat. However, the sun's going to start losing its heat when it starts moving towards Libra, its opposite sign of Aries. Now we have a very weak sun who's going to get even weaker as it goes into Capricorn, the dead of winter. So you can see that the sun sign is going to say yay and nay, but if you understand the seasonal aspect behind this, you're going to recognize real fast how this operates, because we need to know, is the sun in a good place? Is it strong for you, or do you need other planets to buoy up that weak position in the sun? Capricorns, they're into business, but the business aspect of Capricorn is basically through the planet Saturn. So we need to know if they're a strong Saturn. Yeah, well, you see, now that we're in winter and Saturn's taken over, we need to know what that Saturn sign's about. You don't read Saturn sign astrology anywhere in the paper, but it should be there because that's what it's about, and it should state this. But you see, we have different aspects of where we're going at. If you're going to get a job, you might call the astrologer, and the astrologer might tell you it's not worth going after. First of all, you get 20 people here ahead of you, and you're not going to like the job. It says it right in the chart. You can see this. Oh, you might get the job, but you don't want the pay it's offering. You might not like the people, the boss. All of these things come into circumstances of getting the job. We can see that. An astrologer can see if you're going to sell your house and if you're going to get your top dollar, or if you're going to find people who just don't want to spend that much money. What if you're going to buy a house? You're going to get your money's worth. You're going to get a value here. We can tell you that. You're going to invest in stocks. You're going to get your money back, at least. This is all in the chart. This is all in the astrological, traditional way of doing astrology. We need to know the strength of the planets, their positions, and how they're received by each of the signs. If you have no clue here, you have no way of telling anyone how to work an astrology chart, how to read an astrology chart, and how to determine what is best for the individual's destiny. Remember, you have a destiny. You have to fulfill it. Why not cast a chart via a good astrologer and have that destiny foretold and ideas and ways in which you can manipulate that destiny into a much more fulfilling lifestyle?